Welcome back to Black Man Problems. I am, as always, Anthony Brown.
And I am Ciaran Callum.
And today we are talking about bullying in the workplace. Put your titties on the photocopier! Put your titties on the photocopier now! If you've heard that before, maybe you should listen to this talk. And you've been approached by this subject by one of the fans of Black Man Problems.
One of our fans. You know exactly who you are. Lovely girl. Basically, she experienced some really horrible workplace bullying or mobbing, as they basically call it. So what happened to her was that she asked to move departments at work because she just didn't want to be there anymore, and her supervisor took offence.
Right.
And then as a result, her supervisor then started excluding her from emails and from company outings and stuff, really horribly criticising her work and just basically doing what he could to make her life feel shit. And as a result, she's now left in a state where she feels like she can't sleep without pills, and she still has loads of anxiety. Like, it's really, really gotten her down. And actually, workplace bullying really messes people up, man.
Yeah.
Like, people commit suicide over it and stuff.
Because, like, even just, like, being able to get on in a normal office environment and impress a boss, it's hard because someone who's in a position of power and then you having to speak to them or challenge them for anything is difficult on just normal terms. Never mind if that person's bullying you as well on top of that. So, and what do you do to get out of that situation? Because you feel like, well, they're the person in power. If I say something, maybe I'm going to get fired. I think that's the one thing that stops a lot of people from speaking out. So, what do you do in that situation?
There's another situation that comes with bullying as well, you need to mention, which is when it's like a group of people that gang up on you. They're usually all like the same level as you. But then it's just like you're being actually ganged up on.
And they talk down to you as if you're like the weakest link of the group, I guess.
Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Like, not to the extent that the girl that we were talking about, but like slight cases of it where I feel like sometimes in the workplace people feel like they need a scapegoat, someone that they can push or put down as the weakest link, so then themselves can feel a lot better about their positions in their job. Like, they kind of have to bully someone, so therefore they're not that person.
Yeah, because if someone is a scapegoat, then they're not the scapegoat.
Yeah,
if they're not the scapegoat.
That's how I felt it. That's how I felt it. And as for terms of getting over it, like, for me, I just tried to make sure I was a more confident person in the workplace, because even to this day, like, I was reading a book even now, I was telling you, Bill Gowan, it talks about, it's called Pitch Perfect. It just teaches you how to, express yourself a lot more confidently. And I always think if you can do that in the workplace, that people won't pick you to be the scapegoat, because they feel like, well, he's a strong, confident individual, therefore we're not going to bully him. They pick people that feel weak or can't speak up for themselves usually.
In the course of my life, I can think of about 3 separate occasions where you could say I was
You really
bullied.
had some problems there.
Yeah. It happened to me a few times as a kid. And one thing that kind of got me when I was doing research for this talk was that all of the advice that I saw online about how to deal with bullying, it just seemed like it didn't really seem effective enough. So it'd be like, oh, if you're being bullying and if people are harassing you in the workplace, then sit down and make a diary. Take weeks, take months, and make a diary of all of the horrible things that they've done. Yes, because the point is, if you're bullying me and you're making my life hell, and I'm making a diary,
you want to stomp it out there and then, don't you?
And I have to take the pain of what you're doing long enough to actually get this
create a diary.
Yes, and then it's a diary that you can still dispute, because you can say none of that's true.
Yeah,
I didn't do that. And you're like, I'm sorry, like, look, don't get me wrong, Ciaran's a good guy, but he's a bit sensitive, and he doesn't really have strength of character, so he tends
which is another form of bullying, like condescending towards you, and you don't want that. So, but these are methods that they say you should use. We're not saying you shouldn't do them, but it didn't work for you, basically, or wouldn't work for you.
Well, in my experience, I would say I don't really see it working, because it's like when I'm bullying you, I'm bullying you. We're both adults, and then you go to like our boss. Like, our boss is another adult. So what you're really asking is like one adult to start policing 2 other adults like they're a school teacher, which our boss isn't going to feel comfortable doing.
And then you're going to feel really uncomfortable once that person's been told by your boss, and then they come out of that meeting, then see you, and there's that whole, oh yeah, you know that I've just told you off now, and now it's really awkward. I would much rather just say, whatever way you got to go and speak to them, say, dude, I really don't like when you do that, man. It feels like I'm being bullied. It just puts me down. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Sometimes they don't know that they're actually bullying, but most of the times they do, and they're just being a dick. And you've got to out them.
Which is why I'd say I wouldn't even go at it that way as well, because what you've just said implies that you're dealing with like a nice person who actually has.
Yeah, they're not.
They're
usually not. I'm giving them the benefit of doubt right now. And I shouldn't be.
So there's times when I've been bullied. I even mentioned times I've been bullied, and like personally, what I did to like resolve the issue just categorically. So I remember when I was at school, there was a period when a group of kids were all like bullying me, and they were all like getting in my face, and they were making fun of me about something. Now I took a magnifying glass and I got the ringleader and I whacked him over the head with the magnifying glass. They left me alone after that. No one said a thing. Like seriously, like they gave me a wide berth. Basically,
But there's screaming and blood involved.
I actually did draw a little bit of blood. Now, just for the record, I'm not saying that you should like get violent with people. But the thing is, like, speaking from experience, because like this bullying talk, like as I've been thinking and researching the week, I just get angry because it's like giving me it's giving me flashbacks. Bullies, like die. Yes. Leave me the fuck alone.
Well, that's what it gets, and it gets to the point where people like they get so like caught up about it, the emotion about it, they can't live with it, so they either get like how you did, or they become inverted and they end up committing suicide in a lot of cases. You know what I mean? Like in schools as well, like not just the workplace, but anywhere.
Yeah. So one thing to remember about bullies. Now I mentioned this to you when we were speaking about this earlier, but bullies aren't like professional boxers. So if we take like Floyd Mayweather as a man is like, I think I'm the best boxer on the planet, and I'm going to get out there in a ring with another strong boxer, and we're going to test our mettle, and we're going to see which one of us is truly the strongest.
Yeah.
All the years of training, all of it will come together in this one fight. It'll be beautiful. Two men pushing themselves to the limit. Who's actually the best? That is not a bully. A bully is a fucking little pussy, right? That basically just wants to have like an easy target. They don't want any resistance whatsoever because they're shy and insecure about shit that's going on in their own lives. The second they can see that you're going to give them any resistance, my God, I'm passionate about this. The second they can see, like they're gone. Which is why when I whacked that kid with a magnifying glass, he left. Which is why another time when there was a kid who was bullying me at school, I turned up at his house and said, "Me and you, we're having a fight right now." He left me alone after that. Now, fast forwarding to the present day, because I know those.
Ambulance, forget that.
Yeah, so fast forward to the present day.
Bully's getting beaten up somewhere.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Laid out. Stomped
Magnifying
out.
glass.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so fast forward to the present day. I was working at an ad agency a few years ago, and we had a major client, and this major client was actually like a really large mobile phone company that you've all heard of. And it was the largest client that our company ever had, so we had to do everything we could to make them happy.
Yeah.
There was this one guy who worked for the phone company. He was like the main stakeholder that I dealt with. He took one look at me and just, from the get-go,
just decided.
Anthony. From
your foot just struck.
From the get-go. Like, from the moment the light from my body hit his eyeballs, right, he realised he didn't like me, and he just made loads of nasty comments. He was so disrespectful.
What the kind of thing? People want to know what he would say.
Once he called me numbnuts. And it was like...
Oh, belittling stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it was
make you feel like you're not good at your job.
Really belittling, yeah. And this was it as well. I'm using a content management system. A content management system is like a system that you use to edit a website, basically. So if you go to sky.com, that's edited with a content management system. I'm using a CMS. I've never used a CMS before in my fucking life.
So he's going to jump on this straight away, obviously.
But I've been given no training. I'm figuring out the CMS on the job. And the guy's like giving me grief. But because he's my client, I have to be nice. Now, the point is, one thing that people say when you're being bullied is try and like find common ground, which I did try to do. So at one point, me and the guy spoke, and I spoke to him about Breaking Bad. He's a Breaking Bad fan.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, Walter White, Jesse Pinkman, you know, sounds fabulous,
look
right?
in there. I'm the one that knocks.
I am the one who knocks.
Anyway.
Who is it you're talking to right now? Who do you think you see? I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
So you're talking about all this banter with him?
We're bantering about Breaking Bad, right? And it's all good and it's wonderful. And like he actually started to get better for a time, but then he started to like drift back into his old ways.
Couldn't help himself.
Now one day, and this was the July of 2013.
Remember it well.
I remember so well. Twas the summer of love. July of 2013.
Yeah.
And this guy, who, oh gosh, the amount of animosity I still hold to this guy in my heart. So like I see it. Yeah. Honestly, after I left that workplace, I fantasized about just beating him up. Like
bad.
Yeah. I just think about not all day, every day, but like at times I'd be just sat there, I'm on the bus, and it's like, you know, if I saw that fucking cunt, I swear, and like, you know what, I might have done it. Like I might, just like one, one. But like the guy, I've never had someone be so in my adult life. I've never had anyone be so disrespectful.
That you couldn't handle it, like
disrespectful. But anyway, 'twas the summer of love, July 2013, and he said something to me. I don't remember what he said, but I looked him in the eye. Just looking at him like this.
You didn't say anything. Just give him the look.
Yeah, I looked him in the eye. We look like this right now, where it's like
The Rock.
In my head, me and you are fucking fighting, and I'm winning. That's what's going on in my head right now. And he left me alone after that. He backed down. I literally, you know, I was looking in his eyes. I saw his pupils widen. Like,
but he realised. But I might get fucked up.
And this is what you kind of need to do with bullies. Like, you have to stand your ground. You don't have to, like, say for instance, you don't even have to like look at someone like you're gonna hurt them. Say, look, like, get him on his own and say, this isn't acceptable. What is your fucking problem with me? What? Why are you doing this? I'm not having it anymore. Do you have it? If you have an issue with me, let's fucking talk about it right now. Let's fucking talk about this issue. What is your fucking problem? And then speak like that and watch them back down.
That's one method. I don't know why everyone going out there and getting in trouble. One method.
Yeah.
And it worked for Ciaran.
As a former bully victim, like I could only go.
I can see why you're passionate about this. I understand where you're coming from. But that's just one.
It's an option.
It's just one option. I'm not saying everyone's going to do the same thing.
So what's your...
The other option you can take is you send a nice little email. I didn't quite like what you said the other day. Such and such a... Put a nice, carefully conducted email together, constructed, perfectly worded, so you know exactly where you're coming from. And also now that's evidence of you saying that you've addressed this person. So therefore, this comes up later on with HR. You can say, well, I told him here, and he didn't respond, or he did and he responded like this. There's your evidence, or whatever. So you've got that. Or you go and speak to them, say in a quiet room. Look, I don't really like the way you've been talking like this. I understand that you're frustrated. We're frustrated. Now let's stop bumping heads and, you know, let's just sort this out properly. You can do it that way. Or you can get a fucking magnifying glass and beat the shit out of his fucking head until it stops.
No, that was 10-year-old kid. Okay?
But yeah, there's different ways. But I definitely agree with you that you need to stand your ground, because rather than doing the email and all that, like, I would like to feel like I was strong enough as a person and confident just to say, you know what, I'm going to deal this with myself. I don't really want to go to HR, although that is the best thing and, you know, what you should do. But if you can resolve it yourself by doing what you did, like just standing your ground and say, look, I'm not happy about this, can it stop? That's the best way, I think, because you're going to feel better in yourself, you're going to feel more confident, and most likely it's going to stop there and then. That's what I reckon.
Well, also as well, so like, you've got a sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you catch someone bullying your sister, would you...
I'm going to take the Ciaran method, I'll be honest with you.
You would shut it down immediately. Yeah. Why not do that with yourself?
It's true, yeah.
This is like, why are you so less worthy than your sister?
Do you know what it is? The only reason why my method of shutting it down is different. It's just because it's a workplace thing. That's what it is. It's always the fear of, like, you know, there's a certain code of conduct that you've got to have at work, like being very diplomatic and make sure, like, we're in a court of law.
Well,
Exhibit A. the insults. But if it's outside, if we're outdoors, you done fucked up. If you're outdoors and there's no rules other than the rules of like.
Well, you know, this is kind of the way I see it, right? Number one, if you're being bullied at work and they're really treating you like they're treating you terribly and they're making your life feel like it's shit, just leave. Firstly, like
if it's a place where you cannot, it goes right the way at the top.
Get the hell out of there. Like life is too short to be like you spend most of your day you spend at work. Like, rather than anywhere else. It's the one place where you spend the greatest percentage of your time.
It's
You're
so
going to be
true.
with people who are treating you terribly. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, if everyone in that place is an arsehole, they're an idiot, they were just raised wrong, and there's no change in them, all the right through to the staff, to the boss, to the boss's boss, to the boss's boss's boss, then you don't need to be in that workplace. Yeah. Put yourself in an environment where you feel comfortable and your life will be much better. If you can't do that, then I actually don't have any advice for you.
Well, I would say speak to the ringleader, because even if you're being bullied by multiple people, there is one ringleader. There's always the one. There's always one, and everybody just follows.
The shredder,
like, do you remember
the big boss, the Dr. Robotnik?
Do you remember in Celebrity Big Brother when Shilpa Shetty was being bullied by Jade Goody and them? Like,
oh my god, yeah, remember that?
Yeah. Now, Jade was the ringleader. Everybody else just followed Jade.
Yeah.
If Jade was taken out, the rest leave her alone. So my point is, right, if like it's a group, and if you're not going to leave for whatever reason, right, and if you actually think to myself, okay, I don't want to like torture myself by allowing myself to be bullied for months just so I can put together evidence which may or may not be taken seriously anyway, get the ringleader on their own, deal with the ringleader. Now, if you want to try and make the ringleader your friend, you're a better person than me. I don't have that in me. No, I don't. If you're bullying me, we're enemies. Like, we're not friends. Like, I've got no love for you in my heart. Which I know I need to like work on that. I know.
No. It's your way. It's your way.
I need to work on it.
The bullies have made this way. You know what I mean?
No, it's true, yeah.
I mean, this is your X-Men power now.
I've been through some hashtag bullshit.
That's your black man problem.
Yeah, it is. Fat man problem, actually, when I was a little kid.
You did say.
Fat
people
boy Brown.
Always want to pick.
Fat boy Brown.
That's what they used to say. Don't say they used to say that.
Nah, they did.
But that people do love to pick on the fat kid. Like they even do. It's movies problem. I remember Goonies with Chunk. They used to make him do the shuffle thing, whatever
is
it was.
Is he the one that went, "Hey, you guys"?
Yeah. No. That's like.
Isn't that from the Goonies?
That's from the Goonies, but like, it's the one that made him pull up his top and shake his belly.
You know, I've never seen the Goonies.
What?
Yeah.
Alright, we need to stop this film and get the Goonies out.
Take the ringleader. Either make the ringleader your friend, or just like show the ringleader that you're not going to put up with any bullshit. Because the ringleader just wants to feel powerful and they want to feel secure, but they're not powerful. Strong people don't bully.
No.
Strong people lift other people up. It's only weak, insecure little pricks that actually bully. So get that ringleader and just give them a piece of your mind. Like, again, if it was your husband, your wife, your daughter, your son, your cousin, would you, like, you'd get in there. You'd get in there immediately, shut it down. Shut it the fuck down.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Diplomatically. Or just beat the shit out of him. Or, I don't know, you can use the Ciaran method or you can use the Mr. Brown method. One may work best in one situation, may work best in another situation.
This is it. You know, each individual situation might require an appropriate response.
But like, to kind of put a little end to this conversation and, you know, a resolve, if you are in a really difficult situation in a workplace where you are being bullied and you feel uncomfortable, get yourself out of there and put yourself into an environment where you feel comfortable, because as you said, you're in the workplace every day. If you can resolve it, diplomatically do it. If you need to, you know, be a little bit more forceful, I say, or, you know, a little bit more, you know, head on speaking to them and just give them peace of mind, do it that way. But if you can't, go somewhere where you feel a lot more comfortable, because there's no point being in a workplace where it's poisonous, because you know what I mean.
One thing actually might be a bit more practical as well, which is that, say, if you're being bullied in the workplace, the ringleader has decided they don't like you for some reason. Now, it might be like your work is too good, they feel threatened. It might be your work isn't good enough.
Could be racism.
It could be racism. It could be like in the case of me when I was being, I guess, bullied by that guy at the massive phone company. He was morbidly obese, and I have to believe that the fact that I am kind of the exact opposite of morbidly obese had something to do with his reaction.
Yeah.
It must have.
Maybe he'd been bullied in the early days by people who were jocks.
Almost certainly. So it might be interesting as well. Actually, it goes back to what you said earlier, to think about learning like social interaction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you can think, like, what was it about me that they didn't like?
Yeah.
And then you can either, like, when you leave, you can go to places that don't have people like that. If there's something about you that maybe you can change, and not to say there is, but if there is, if there's something like, oh, maybe I could have been more social, then you can do that. If it's actually just a general clash of personalities, then for your next role, try and find people that are more like yourself.
There's always a way out, and if you do have any experiences you'd like us to talk about or anything, write them down in the comments and we'll reply to everything.
Thai boxing classes as well. Elbows and knees are really good for like attacking bullies' noses. They work a treat, honestly. Like,
the Ciaran method.
It's very satisfying.
Beat the shit out of these motherfuckers.
Exactly.
But like, yeah, send in your stories downstairs, not downstairs physically where we are, down in the comments,
the comment bit.
right there. Make sure you subscribe. If you have any topics that you want for us to discuss as well, write in and we will discuss them. So thank you to, we won't say your name, for giving us that topic.
And also as well, just before we go, if you like what you're watching or listening, if you're listening to our podcast, we also have a podcast, iTunes, etc. Basically, please share. Share it with your friends. And make sure the whole world knows.
Subscribe.
To our special friend as well, who spoke to me about her issue being bullied. Just want you to know that I really appreciate having gotten to know you. Love you as a fan and as a human being. And, it's all going to get better from here.
Always will. We have been Blackman Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Get your titties on the photocopier now!
Okay, I was just going to say goodbye to my little niece, but after that, I don't think I will. Leah, I'm sorry. Anthony's a bad man.
No.